I am thinking about breaking up with GF. How do I handle this? Let me preface this by saying that we have been dating for 2 years, which is the longest relationship I have ever been in, and before this relationship, she was in an abusive relationship where her ex-boyfriend would hit her and cheat on her, and she was assaulted on multiple occasions. I was in love with her. We used to hang out every single day before she had to go away for college, and I introduced her to my friends and we were all a super tight-knit group. She was my best friend. Once she left, everything felt like it went downhill. My girlfriend made me drop some childhood friends that were girls because, as she said, girls can't be trusted, and she didn't want me hanging out with my guy friends anymore without her. We never went to bars or partied, we hung out in one of my friends' basements and watched YouTube videos. I stupidly agreed and ruined many relationships as a result. This is not all her fault, as I made the decision, myself, to do these things. However, the way that she acted and cried and yelled at me about wanting to have fun with my own friends while she was away created a resentment that hasn't gone away since, but I have managed to bury it pretty deep down. My girlfriend also has a history of over-exaggerating. She told me one time when I was hanging out with my friends that she was on the roof of her dorm building and was going to jump off, only to find out from a friend of hers at school that she never left her room. Anyway, aside from all the obvious red flags that I ignored, our lives and how we see our futures is very different. She has a bachelor's degree and works full-time, which, yes, I am happy for her diving into her career at a young age, but she doesn't care what is happening. She needs to see me all the time. I am more introverted and need my alone time, especially since I am still trying to get a bachelor's degree and I work full-time simultaneously, which is tiring. She doesn't understand this, no matter how many times I talk to her about it. When I am not at work and she is not at work, she needs to be on the phone with me at all times. Why? I don't know. She will call me repeatedly when I decline her calls even though I am just taking a shit. She sees me as a husband. We go to family things together, she falls asleep with me on the phone, she wants me to go shopping with her and be by her side every minute of every day. I cannot do that. I have come to realize that I am still so young and there are many things that I would like to do that she just holds me back from doing. Grabbing a drink at the bar with some friends. Not without her. Going to see a movie with some friends. Not without her. Watching a football game with some friends. Not without her. Above all that, she is a very sweet girl if given the chance to have a normal conversation. She spoils me when I never ask for it, we make each other laugh. I know her family very well and she knows mine. I'm torn in my decision. I love her as a person, but in a relationship I can't do it anymore. I have only ever broken up with one girl that I dated for a month and I felt awful about it. I started crying at the thought of letting my girlfriend go after 2 years of having her in my life. I know what I have to do, but I just don't know how to do it. Any advice would be more than helpful. Next story 2. I want to break up with my girlfriend for not treating me for my birthday. I and my girlfriend Rose have been dating for about 8 months now, and while things weren't bad, they have certainly been lackluster. At the start I was so excited because this was my first real relationship that I went the extra mile. I would text first daily, I set up dates, and drove us everywhere. The first thing that took the wind out of my sail is that for Valentine's Day I bought her flowers and gave her little gifts because that's how I show my affection, but I didn't receive anything in return. The second thing is that when we went on dates I was usually fronting most of the expenses. I'm a gift giver by nature, so I always made sure to remember the things she likes and spend quite a bit to get her a nice gift for her birthday. I'm being vague because they're really specific pop culture items. My birthday was last week, but I didn't celebrate it since my family is hosting a big party for everyone who have had birthdays this month/birthday milestones this year. I told Rose this, but that I would still like to do something that day like dinner, and she agreed, but no further plans were made. The days following up to my birthday she never mentioned it, and I decided just to see if she maybe would mention it at all without my prompting, but she didn't. The day came and she wished me happy birthday, and that was it. Since this is my first relationship I thought that should be a bare minimum thing to do, and I felt that I had efficiently set the standard of expectation for our relationship. But looking back now I see that I have set a standard where I put forth most of the tokens, money, and attention, and she can get by with giving me little to nothing of the same in return. I know thinking of a relationship as transaction isn't good, but I feel that I get nothing at all from this, not even love. We haven't been physically in any way, not even kissing besides when I peck her on the cheek, and the only time I love you was said was when I let it slip by accident, since I regularly say that to friends and family. I just don't know how to go about telling her that I think maybe we should just be friends. Is this something that can be worked it out? Comment. I don't know honestly. I was raised to appreciate everything my man does for me. I am his first girlfriend as well. And even though I do not spend as much money as him, I do so much more in other ways. Think about this. Could you see her being the mother of your kids? Is she nurturing and warm towards you? I think it's great that you are such a giver and provider, but if she can't get you a simple gift on the most important day of the year for you, she may not truly like you as much as you like her. Me and my BF said I love you after knowing each other for 2 weeks. I promise you there are better girls out there. Do yourself a favor and save yourself from real heartbreak now. Tell her how you feel, but if you don't feel any change of heart, move on. She may not be a bad person, but she might not be right for you. I'm telling you, I give my BF so much love and care and he never questions my love. There are girls out there like this. Please don't keep breaking your heart. Your language is gifts. If you believe in love languages, you have to acknowledge that hers might not be gifts. You need to set expectations up front and not blame her for not meeting your unspoken expectations. She doesn't love you. Probably because it's too soon. Talk about it, and if you're not a fit, then you've learned. Next story 2. I can't decide if I should leave my partner or work to fix this void. Several things to unpack here. I'll do my best to avoid rambling. I've been in a relationship with my partner for nearly 4 years now. We've done a lot of growing together and I consider him to be my emotional support and my rock. Overall, wonderful partner despite a couple of things, and has always been open and willing to communicate and work on things. Recently, I feel we've hit a stale spot in our relationship and I don't know if he's feeling the same way. Several things are likely contributing to this and I can't decide the best path to move forward. First off, I have not been the ideal partner and he met me at a time in my life in which I'd been recovering from PTSD, along with chronic diagnosed anxiety and major depressive disorder. I can confidently say if it weren't for him I'd still be suffering from severe PTSD. He accepted and took on a lot more in terms of my mental health than most individuals would have. Honestly, he didn't need to take on that responsibility, and yet he did and never wavered. I still have pretty severe anxiety and MDD, and I'd say these two things might be contributing to my current dilemma. Coupled with my own mental health struggles, my partner has many himself. I am positive he has depression and unresolved PTSD from his childhood. I've been in therapy and working on finding the right medications to manage my anxiety/depressive symptoms. He has also expressed he would as well if he had insurance, but alas, America. Outside of, I had lost my father early this year and have been working through the waves of grief. Again, his strength never wavered in this situation. Supportive of myself and my family during this time. Made sure to take charge of things for his funeral, spoke at his funeral, etc. Myself, though, since losing my father, has been very detached from myself, the world, and this relationship. I've been working in therapy and diagnosed PTSD-like symptoms in relation to his passing, so I am trying to figure it out on my end. That said, it's almost like his passing has made me feel stuck and stagnant. It was like a reality check from hell. It simultaneously made me want to take action while also being so depressed I don't have the energy to actually do so. I feel guilt because this detachment, I know, has affected not only physical intimacy but emotional intimacy between us as well. Within the last month, I've noticed a lack of spark between us, and maybe it's just myself to him. I feel as though I never have anything to say to him. I find myself grasping at conversation topics. I'm just quiet a lot and I don't know what has changed. I feel incredibly bored, and not in the way of oh I want to sleep with someone new type of bored, but just as though we seem to only exist together. We've also not been physically intimate like we used to. He has always had a higher drive than I, and the lack thereof from his side is concerning. There's a few things I think that are logically contributing to this. Depression, work burnout/exhaustion, on both sides. We had opened up a lot to each other as well about our sexualities and even some fantasies, a few of which has played out. It was on some level liberating and amazing to be so open about these things with someone. But since then, it seems one of the main driving turn-ons for him is the idea of sharing me with another man, or female, which we've done both, which is cool, fine. As though it's not about us anymore but just to get off. I also worry it's due in part to boredom or lack of fulfillment/satisfaction/attraction to me, and adding a third is an easy cop-out to see someone else physically. Now, I usually wouldn't condone this, but I'll be honest in that I'd snooped through his phone for the first time. I'd found days/weeks/months of backlog history of hardcore. Mostly involving couple sharing/cuckold type scenarios. It just brought up a lot of the same disgust/icky feelings that I'd felt when I first figured out his addiction. It makes me worry that he will one day cheat, along with feeling second best to porn stars isn't fun either. And all of that said, it's clear his lack of physical intimacy isn't due to the lack of being turned on, it's due to the fantasies winning again. Everything above has left me wondering if maybe I should just leave and figure myself out, for his sake and my own. I would just feel selfish in that we put in so much work, have been through so much, and maybe I'm just too lazy to fix it. I worry, often though, if our depression is somewhat exacerbated by our relationship. I almost feel like we both want out but are too scared to say it because overall the relationship is solid. We both have put in tremendous effort to do better for one another and I don't want to throw in the towel, but I'm one. Comment. It's a kink. It's just a kink. Plain and simple. Addiction has such an awful connotation. There are ways to work through a kink difference or even a kink incompatibility. Communication and negotiation help a lot. If your issue isn't having a third partner but the fact that there's no attachment there, then, discuss the possibility of having some attachment there. Maybe having a regular third with benefits that you continue to use the same person and build a kind of rapport with instead of a continuous pattern of strangers. The point is to work stuff out and communicate and figure out your boundaries and work within them. It's really only if at the end of the day your boundaries set you apart from each other that, you should be apart from each other. I think you've got a lot swirling around you and have maybe overdosed on mental health issues. It is important to diagnose and address mental health but just the slew of them all can be exhausting all on its own to continuously deal with. We really can't tell you what you want or how you feel. You've repeated the point that this is a very supportive person to you and that you just feel disconnected, right now, implying that this is probably even just a temporary feeling that you just don't know how to process. So, process it, before you make any decisions. Figure out how you feel before you figure out what you're going to do. And if you're concerned that you are dragging things out or stringing things along, then, say that and communicate that and let him decide to stick with you rather than you making the choice unilaterally. Your entire situation sounds like it needs therapy and communication and probably not much more than just that. Maybe not best to alter the course of your life based on what you describe as symptoms of your illness. He has gone through the fire for you and you want to leave because things are stale. In your words, his problems are an addiction. You should support him as he gets help.